All right, hello and welcome to episode 36 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated to sharing the many exciting and enjoyable aspects and romantic aspects of games and gaming. I'm your host, Victor, and today I'm joined by a new co-host of the show, Matteo.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
How are you
exciting.
doing?
I'm doing fantabulous on this very special episode of Shared Discovery to be doing.
I'm so glad to have you here. I said romantic because we're doing a Valentine's episode.
We are doing a Valentine's episode. Very happy to be here. Very happy to talk about my feelings towards Valentine's Day and everything involved, especially around Shared Discovery gaming.
And we came up with a pretty great game.
We did come up with a very good game.
An awesome game, actually.
Yes.
For this. We came up with The Sims 4, right?
Correct.
Sims
4.
You can do anything in, but what do most people play it for?
A lot of people play it for the creativity to fall in love, I think, with someone you can create yourself.
Yes.
At least that's for me.
You can choose the romantic options the way that you want to.
Exactly.
Very customizable.
Yes.
So we thought today, because I looked up the definition of Valentine's.
Okay.
What do you think? What is Valentine's? And Valentine's, what I found, the definition I liked is it's a time to celebrate romantic love, friendship, and admiration. And what better game to do that than The Sims?
Exactly. The Sims, you can customize yourself and whoever you want to fall in love with, your friends, your family, anybody, any way that you really want to be. So it's like definitive, in my opinion, of being the absolute best,
Right? And so before we get into that, I want to hear your opinions on that.
Okay, yes.
We got to tell the audience who you are. And this is what I like to do when I get a new co-host.
Okay.
We're about games, so I want to ask you just whatever questions you want to ask. Let me throw them at you, okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, you ready? So, what do you like about games? How did you get into games? And what are some of your favorite games?
So, I'll do it top to bottom. What do I like about games? I like the fact that you can escape into them. It gives you this sort of escapism to kind of live vicariously through another character. Like if you say, let's say we're playing Spider-Man, or through The Sims, where you make your own character and you can put yourself in that headspace of doing whatever they want to do.
Yes.
So I like that you really are able to be free with it, or you get to play and experience this awesome story of where anything can happen depending on what it is,
For sure. Like that escapism is a huge part for me too.
Exactly.
We spent a good part of the pre-show talking about Spider-Man specifically.
Exactly, yes.
How anyone can see themselves and feel themselves as Spider-Man. I like that.
Thank you. And then how did I get into games?
How did you start?
It was gaming has been part of my life as far as I remember. There's an old urban legend amongst my family that my older brother beat original Halo when he was 2. I don't know if that's true because I've seen some 2-year-olds and I'm not sure.
Did your dad put the controller in the hand, and as he was pushing
probably
so
maybe he was 4
legend?
Maybe he was 4 when it happened, but yeah, I grew up with him. My dad has told me stories where he skipped high school to play Mario on his NES and stuff.
A gaming family.
I do come from a gaming family, yes.
Okay.
It is. So it's just been always around me. Even I don't have these memories myself, but I remember seeing old home videos where I'm playing Pac-Man or I'm playing Mario Kart or I'm playing something,
Okay.
So yeah, I've just kind of grown up around it, and since that's what you grow up with, you kind of keep it with you for your whole life. And it's such a big part of who you are and what you learn. I mean, experience, it gives you a new view of life, and sometimes experiences. It's just what I grew up with,
I love to hear that because I've had a lot of people on, a lot of co-hosts, and that's always what it goes back to. It's my family got me into these games. Your games were different than mine. But
exactly.
I grew up playing card games with my grandparents or dominoes, right? And that snowballed from there to friends who were like, hey, play this NES game, play these games, right?
Yes.
So out of that, what games are your favorite? What style? What games?
I love a good roguelike game,
Ooh, yes.
which for those who don't know is basically it's different every single time. You'll go in, you'll do a run, you might fail, but you can run it back and try again the second time.
So roguelike or roguelite?
Is
there's a nuance there. Roguelike
there is, yes.
Where there's no progression at all. Every time you start over, you're starting fresh. Roguelite is there's small progression.
Yes.
So you can you go through, you get this resource, and then you can use that to increase your stamina or your health on the next run. What do you think? What do you like?
I prefer a roguelike myself personally.
Yeah.
So Crypt of the Necrodancer. Very good game. I just don't really like the part where you have to like buy items and like upgrade. I'd rather just have it all available and like, oh, if you see it, you can choose to pick it up or stuff.
Okay.
So I just like having it all there.
Do you like Vampire Survivors?
I do like Vampire Survivors.
Okay.
Vampire Survivors is a very. I do like a good Vampire Survivors.
That's a good $3.
That is very good money right there. Yep.
Okay, so roguelikes, you like that style of
Very
game.
much so.
Okay.
And then, but it's probably my favorite style. Favorite game might be Halo Reach. Halo Reach.
That's all time. We're saying number one.
I'd have to say number
Top
one.
three.
Top three.
For sure.
Halo Reach.
Probably number one.
Binding of Isaac.
Wow.
The rest is up.
Top two.
The rest is up to, if I change my mind.
Well, that makes sense to have a Halo game at the top with what you said of your family.
Yeah.
Right? The family's like, it's in the ethos, in the lore of the family that you beat Halo in this family.
Yes.
And you like
That's
Halo.
what it is. Yep.
Okay.
We were very much a Halo family playing multiplayer split screen or campaign split screen.
Sure.
So yeah, I remember, side tangent, there was a glitch on Halo Reach. You pressed, I think you had like Iron Claw your controller in such a weird way. You pressed all the buttons at one time. It was like some sort of weird configuration where you're spamming all the buttons, and it would allow you to have a third player play campaign when originally it's only a 2-player campaign game. So once
you do it one time at the beginning of the campaign.
Yep.
And so every time you boot up the game, do you have to do it again?
You do have to do it every time.
That's so cool.
It is.
That's
it
such
is.
a cool
Yes.
glitch.
It is such a cool glitch because I think Halo Reach came around 2011 or so.
I think so, yeah.
And I think at that time, my younger brother below me was starting to get like into games and everything. So it was a good, bonding experience.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me about it. It
Sounds
like
we're
going to have a roguelike episode.
Yep.
And a Halo episode.
Probably, yes.
Probably
sounds like it.
You sound like the experts. I'm going to bring you up.
Maybe.
Before we get to the show, we always have to do our housekeeping.
Yep.
And at the start of the housekeeping here, I want to let you guys know that we have a lot of props, a lot of visuals, a lot of things that we're going to have come up on screen. So for the podcast listeners, this might be an episode that's worth coming in to check out on YouTube. And to do that, you can come check us out on our Shared Discovery YouTube channel. And then we also recommend and come check us out on Instagram, also at Shared Discovery. We post a lot of pictures of the setup that we're doing today for this awesome special episode today, this Valentine's episode. And then lastly, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, want to get a hold of us directly, you want to tell us, actually, this is a better Valentine's game, you can email us directly at shareddiscoveryshow@gmail.com.
Yes.
And so I have a question. I always have a question at the beginning to go into the main topic. So what is your experience with The Sims?
My experience with The Sims first happened Xbox 360 era also, where I played it on the Xbox 360, Sims 3. And first time playing it, don't know much what to do. So I remember I would input the unlimited money glitch, or input the code, not the glitch.
That's my first experience. I think everyone, like a lot of people, experience that way because you want to see what the game has to offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So since I didn't know what to do, I just had unlimited money to do whatever I want. And then throughout, the internet being on the internet, you kind of passively figure out how to play. You read what other people are doing, you watch other people play the game, and you kind of figure out how to do it yourself. So definitely Xbox 360 Sims 3 is my
that's your main experience.
Is my main experience of Sims 3, yes.
Okay.
Or Sims in general, not just Sims 3.
Okay, so for me, I was before that Sims 2 on the original Xbox, and then I played a little bit of Sims 4. But I did a lot of research on the romance mechanics. And it's really deep. It's actually a pretty deep game. But before that, we should tell people what the game is. Right?
Yes.
So I got a brief description of the game here. So, disclaimer, The Sims is an immersive sim game. So you can do whatever. Like you said at the top there, you can do whatever. But we're going to be focusing on these relationship mechanics today. So, that being said, The Sims is a free-to-play social simulation game. It wasn't free to play when I played it years ago.
They did change that in Sims 4. They made it free to play.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
So I'm sure there's a lot of microtransactions.
Probably. I think so.
Sure. We'll get into that. So The Sims 4 allows a player to create and dress characters called Sims, build and furnish houses for them, and simulate their everyday lives.
Yes.
do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
Build houses the way you want, get jobs, relationships the way you want, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So at the top of the hour, you were telling me that you think The Sims is the best.
I do think.
Tell me more about that.
So any dating simulator, most of the time, you will have set list of characters. You are yourself, or you might be a pre-made character also, and you just chase after them, try to date them, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
The Sims, fully customizable. You make the characters, you make yourself, you make everything. You decide what happens, how it happens, what gets done, what doesn't get done. You create your own fantasy. So that is why I personally think Sims 3 might be the best dating experience simulation video game of all time.
That's a bold claim.
It is a very bold claim, but the fact that you can customize it fully to your own extent, to your own imagination, you can make whatever you want. It is the definitive best, on top, greatest of all time, GOAT. Not self-claimed, factual.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
The Sims is a pretty good romance game, but I think we could do much, much better.
On this
So let me start the show over again with a new co-host that represents my vision for the episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated to sharing the many exciting and enjoyable aspects of games, gaming, and romance. Today I'm your co-host, Victor, and I'm joined again by Ron. I would say how you're doing, but we are running out of time today, Ron.
We are, Victor.
We're behind. I don't know why they cut us low on time today, but we need to get going. So, what are we talking about? What game are we doing?
We are talking about one of the greatest dating games, as well as one of the greatest simulation games in existence. I would say this is the 2017 freeware game Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yes,
right?
and we thought this would be the perfect game to talk about on Valentine's Day. It's probably one of the best dating simulators out there.
Oh yeah, by far and away. It was made by just an indie developer, so some dude and probably his friends or whatever, and he was making it. I don't know.
Put it out for free, and it came. I think it was downloaded 1 million times in the first month.
That's insane.
Which is crazy. But before we get into that, we do have to. We'll do the housekeeping at the end if there's time, right? This is a short episode, but we do have to have a trigger and spoiler warning, right?
Of course.
We're gonna spoil it all. We might be moving quick, but we're going to spoil this game. So if you want the experience, the game, the way the developers wanted, get out now. But if you want to experience the game through us, come on in.
Yeah, us here at Shared Discovery, we don't pull any punches. No. We're just going to get right in and get into it.
And it's really important to say, too, that this game, it has graphic violence, strong language, and suicide. And self-harm. So heavy warning here, trigger warning at the beginning. If this is triggering to you, step out now. So let's talk about it. We're saying it's a dating simulator, but we have a trigger warning. So what the heck's going on in this game?
Right. So Doki Doki Literature Club. It's a heck of a name.
DDLC.
I'll just call it Doki Doki.
Yeah, we'll just call it Doki Doki.
That's better. But so it's a story that's pretty much starts like any other dating sim. Like it's got your basic tropes. It starts in a school. Yeah. You're a student. It's introverted student. Whoa, who would have guessed, right? So then the in-game character that you're playing as, it's usually just a player insert, right? Yeah. Same in this one, but I guess you've got a sister, and she tries to get your character involved in the literature club.
I think it's a best friend.
Best friend?
I think it's a best friend, yeah, because
that's probably,
she's also a romantic interest.
Yeah, that would be weird if it was a sister.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's not right. Yeah, so it's a childhood best friend.
Yes, and she sees that you're a recluse and is like, come to this club. Mm-hmm. So it has a non-traditional plot structure. There's multiple endings, unlockable scenes, and you're trying to date these characters. That's the main premise.
Mm-hmm. Right? It starts out like normal, cliche, trope-filled, and then it's slowly over time like unravels itself and reveals this more complex like labyrinthine story structure.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it'd be important to start with the gameplay. So as the player, what are you actually doing in the game? And there's not a whole lot.
No.
Right? It's more of a visual novel style game. So you're just watching a story unfold. I kind of like to call it like a horror movie.
A choose your own adventure horror movie.
Yeah. And so there's low interactivity and consists of scenes with 2 static characters on the screen, and images of them popping up and talking to you, right? So you're in first person as you talk to them. And so the game's narration is provided by you, the protagonist, and then a member of the literature club who invited you, Sayori.
Right, the
Did I say
childhood
that
friend.
right? Sayori.
I think so, yeah.
And so any decision the player is advocated to make, of course, the plot affects the relationships with these female characters. So there's Sayori, Yuri, Natsuki.
Natsuki? Yeah.
Okay,
it's like you pronounce it, but you don't quite pronounce it. It's kind of like how Michigan folk don't pronounce G's at the end of words, but we do pronounce the G.
What's an example of that?
Bringing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting.
You're right.
As we just drop words. Same with T's and D's.
Running.
Yeah.
Running.
Fighting. You don't pronounce the T or the G in that
Dating.
Dating.
Wait,
Who says
I might say
dating? Dating.
Romancing.
Romancing.
Okay, we're on a tangent.
Right.
We're out of time. That's a normal episode tangent one.
But Natsuki, yeah, they silence the U when it's between the S and the K like that.
And it's important to mention here that these decisions that you make will ultimately have little effect on the overall outcome of the game, since it's more of like a movie style. You're trying to see it unravel.
Okay.
It's going to have minimal impact. So the fourth one, Monica, she's not able to be romanced. And that'll come up later because that's a key plot point for the game.
Right.
But most of the game is played through this mini game. And this mini game is poems. You make poems. It's a literature club. And so what you do is you're given these lists of words, and you select them, and each girl has their favorite words, and it will, if you pick the right ones, they'll positively react to them.
Okay. Right on.
And so you're like, okay, I like Yuri. What words can I pick to get her, right? So, and each one has their distinct personalities. So Sayori is like bubbly and happy, cheery, right, on the surface.
Sure. On the surface. I feel like you're emphasizing that for a reason.
So you're going to look for words like that, right? And if you pick the right words, there's little stylized reaction like chibi, little avatars that pop up on the screen all happy. Right? So this is going to be the core loop, is depending on these mini games, it's these poem mini games, that's the dialogue that you'll get and the characters that you'll get closer to. Very simple.
Very simple.
Low interactive, right? So if you're here for complex mechanics, deep gameplay, this isn't it for you.
Yeah, you're going to want to go somewhere else. But
we're here for the plot.
And that's okay, Sometimes you want to just see a plot unfold.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, we can't change a movie, but we still enjoy it.
Right.
Okay, so let's get the plot. That's the gameplay. It's pretty simple. You click through dialogue, and sometimes you try to sweep them off their feet with the right words. With poetry.
Okay. Huh. Well, let's see how successful.
Sounds like high school.
Really?
No.
No, I would agree. No,
it never worked. We tried.
Did we?
No.
I never tried.
I wrote it. I didn't show it. Okay, so what is this plot?
All right. The narrative is divided into 3 acts and an epilogue, with the game restarting each time after each act and before the epilogue as well. At a certain point, the player must manipulate the actual game files.
This is cool. This is really cool.
Really cool. So, there's fourth wall breaks and there's meta-narrative stuff, and it's built into the actual programming of the game itself, where you have to go into the files and delete files and move stuff around to actually influence the story. There's a few games that do this, but not enough of them, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's one of the best things about the game, is how it sort of like lets you into that information. Anyway, the main protagonist is invited by a childhood friend. We've mentioned that before, Sayori.
So we'll start with Act 1. This is Act 1, right at the beginning. Yep.
The beginning.
The beginning.
Right.
Beginning. We're all over the place.
Beginning.
I like doing these podcasts with you because we're all about like the etymology, the wordplay of stuff.
Just say stuff wrong.
The beginning. Okay, here we go.
The beginning. The main protagonist is invited by the friend, Sayori, to the literature club. This is known. High school's literature club as a remedy for his insular nature, which everyone knows is a negative. Yeah. Don't be insular. He reluctantly agrees, as is expected, to her proposal, right? And meets the other members of the club, the assertive Natsuki, the shy Yuri, and the bubbly club president, Monica, right? Which we've mentioned all these characters.
We have our cast.
The cast is there. We're all set. We're ready to go. After each day passes, because the story is sort of sectioned into days, right? Every day you go to the club and hang out. And you compose poems and you share them with the club. And like you said, romance and story and plot progresses off of that. I guess you prepare to show a poem at school's
this is like the first big plot line. It's like you as a club, you're trying to make poems that you can read off at the club festival. Present at the school's cultural festival. That's what it is. So that's the first plot line. It's all really cheery and fun up to that point. Pretty lighthearted. And then we have our first turn.
Uh-oh. First dark turn.
The first turn.
So at this point, the festival, right?
Yeah.
Sayori, the one who invited you to the actual club, turns out has depression, or is depressed, at the very least showing signs of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. She actually confides it in you.
Oh.
At one point, she lets you know, like, I have depression. And that's the first scene of this. Like, oh, maybe this isn't as lighthearted and bubbly as the average.
It's more real.
As StarCraft. That's what I heard you just say. And I'm like, StarCraft.
StarCraft?
StarCraft.
Did I say StarCraft?
You didn't, but that's what my brain heard.
Because it's dark.
It's dark. But it's not as lighthearted as like a visual novel or the Sailor Moon that we have behind us here, right? It's not as fun. We're starting to see this. This is the first glimpse of that. And so at this point, after this, the protagonist, you have to either assist Yuri or Natsuki. Natsuki with their tasks, and then each of them will try to kiss you. Right before you encounter Sayori again, right? So she confides in you, you help one of them, they try to kiss you. Yeah. Right? And then at that point, when you meet back up with Sayori, you can either confess your love to her, or you can friend zone her. But regardless, it doesn't matter. The choice doesn't matter. Yeah, that was in the wiki.
Is it reject her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Friend zone. The wiki had a link to there's a friend zone page on wiki. I didn't look it up. But it's just hilarious.
Wikipedia?
There's a Wikipedia page
for friend zone. Okay. Yeah. Let's move past this.
We're moving on. Too many tangents. So, regardless of your choice, the next day, Monica passively shows you a uncharacteristically morbid poem from Sayori that is saying, "Get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head." It's very different than the character that you've come to know at this point in the game. So you realize that something's wrong, something happened to her, and you rush to her home and you discover that she's hanged herself.
Oh my.
And then the game ends.
Act 1 over, right?
Act 1 over, just abruptly ends.
Game.
And you're sent back to the main menu. And all the previous files are corrupted and deleted. So, what is happening?
Yeah.
This is where, we were starting to turn, and we're here. Like we did a 180. We're in the dark. We're in the horror game, right? And so you click to start a new game, but Sayori's not there. It's pretty obvious that she's missing. The game starts as normal, but she's not there, and none of the characters remember that she exists.
Pretty wild stuff.
Pretty wild. So she is just gone, and we're on to Act 2. And I thought it would be interesting here. We did an episode where we talked about the history of games and what makes a game. And one of the things that makes a game is agency, right? Player choices mattering. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring up that I don't think that visual novels count as games for that perspective. Right, strictly from that theoretical perspective. But you did have some input here that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, man, I agree a lot with your, like, visual novels aren't games.
Yeah.
Like, they're visual novels, right? Like, I don't know if you could make a meaningful difference. But then we just did make a meaningful difference, I feel like, in there as well. Is like, this is taking visual novels to the next step. It reminds me of, like, combining media and stuff like that, right? You're combining forms of media. You're combining the video game with the actual coding process and, like, things changing within the game based on, like, just the narrative itself, and then you having to interact with the game in unusual ways. I think it's pretty cool. And then this whole, like, confusion that it creates, where it's like it kind of draws you in to play it again, which, don't get me wrong, it kind of reminds me of backtracking in that way of, like, it's repetitive.
Really?
You're just running through the same steps again.
Yeah.
It kicks you back to the start, corrupts your files and your saves and everything, and it's forcing you.
Act 1 is the most perfect act of any
If you're
game
really into
ever.
that.
Yeah, you felt that it was like a repetitive experience at this point.
Wrong.
Like, if I didn't know that the creator was, like, on the level, and a game with the, like, high levels of misogyny and, like,
Another failure of a co-host.
see, like, escape and all that jazz, where it's just not realistic.
I'm so sorry for the mistake, Victor. Here, this should help.
Hi, and welcome to Shared Discovery, the 36th episode. I'm Anna, and I'm here with our host, Victor.
What's going on?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it, Victor.
I normally do that part, but okay. This is weird, and we don't have much time today. So this is a weird episode. Rolling with it.
We gotta roll with
Let me
things.
recalibrate. We're ready. We're doing our Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, you're on the show.
Howdy.
You're hosting it.
Yes, that's crazy.
You were on the D&D show,
I
but
just
you
was on
haven't been
D&D.
here before, so we don't have much time. But I like to ask the new co-hosts to tell them what's your favorite game.
That would have to be Animal Crossing for the Nintendo DS. Wild World, not City Folk, although both are really good.
Okay, well, I don't know why we don't have much time. I'd love to talk more about this, and we
ask
will
questions.
next time we get you on one of these. But we got to talk about Doki Doki Literature Club today.
Hey.
All right. Okay. So I say let's just get to the meat of the game. Let's just do a brief summary.
I do want to say something. I feel like these games can be like, sometimes these sorts of games that they can get boring, and it's just hard to really like want to get through it. But this game, I really feel it's not. It gives a lot of variety. It keeps you engaged. It's not repetitive at all. It's
can feel
very
that,
just like, you don't know what's going to happen, and they throw a lot of things at you, and you just got to like roll with it, and it keeps you wanting to play.
Yeah, I really think Act 1 did a good job of keeping you engaged.
Definitely.
And like the different interactions you can have with the girls. So I'm there with you for sure. But
Completely.
Act 1's not really the meat of the game.
No.
But we should tell them what it's about, right? So real quick like summary here, and then we'll get into the meat. So you're invited to the literature club by your friend Sayori. You make poems. Try to date the girls by making the right poems. Then your friend Sayori dies, and the game resets. And now we're here. Now we're in Act 2. This is where the game went from cute dating sim to, not cute dating sim. Dark dating sim.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through. Let's spend some time here on Act 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And get to these endings, because that's where this game is like. This is what's made it so memorable.
Definitely.
So tell me about Act 2.
Yeah, so it kind of starts with Monica introducing the protagonist, the player, to the group of girls, just without Sayori this time. It's kind of a harsh cut because you just restart the game. You don't know
just restarts and she's just not there.
As if she didn't exist.
Nobody remembers her.
Yeah, the events proceed similarly to Act 1 when the game starts, but this is where you start to kind of see some glitches. Some of the text is illegible. You get kind of blackouts or glitching in and out. Even some music kind of alludes to things happening that you may not be aware of. Those computer glitches and bugs, they kind of become a lot more commonplace.
Yeah, they're kind of starting to just pop up everywhere
in
the game at this point. And then we get some more dark backstory for Natsuki at this point.
Yeah.
Right? This is where, through these distortions and some special poems you can unlock, you'll learn that she's pretty malnourished and that she's being abused by her father. And during this time, Yuri also becomes more unstable and obsessive and prone to self-harm. So the game's starting to unravel. Characters are starting to lose it.
Exactly.
At this point. And so the Act 1, they were trying to build up to the cultural festival to present their poems at this cultural festival. So we finally get to that point.
Yep.
Sayori's not there, but we get to the point with the other three girls, Monica included. And during that, the heated debate, quarrel comes up between the girls, and the player, is forced to choose Monica. No choice.
None.
We have to choose her, and this sets Yuri off the rails.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, and what happens after that? This is like an iconic moment.
Yeah, so Yuri actually ejects her and Natsuki from the room. And this is where she confesses her love to the protagonist.
Yeah.
But within that, it's not really a good thing. That's where, regardless of what the protagonist does, they accept it. If they do not, Yuri then commits suicide by stabbing herself.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
It's
it
very,
is.
very brutal.
And then the glitches, these bugs, they force the protagonist to sit and stay and watch Yuri's body decompose over the entire weekend.
Literally.
Yes. And there's some I remember I was reading somewhere too that it said some glitches or some version of it actually throughout the weekend her blood will start to turn black and like a goo almost. I didn't have that myself when I was playing it, but that was one of the things
so
that
certain playthroughs.
Yeah, yeah.
God. How long do you think that is, like real time? That weekend scene.
I don't know. I would just imagine, like a Friday out of school, then to the next day.
But like for you, the player, is it
brutal.
like 5 to 10 minutes? Like.
Oh,
that's brutal. Like you could speed through
I
it,
don't
right?
remember. I do not remember. I just remember it sitting on there for a bit, and it was like, oh god.
Yeah, and you're just probably waiting, like, okay, something's got to happen. Oh my
You just to sit there and you watch exactly. The corpse slowly, decompose, and then Natsuki returns upon like this script sort of resetting, which is the thing that set off the glitch that held you there the entire weekend.
Oh my god.
And that's when she's horrified, nauseated at the sight of Yuri's dead body.
Who wouldn't it be? And then Monica comes in and she's kind of not horrified really, so that's who. And she comes in, she said sorry for the boring weekend.
Yeah.
At this point, she deletes Yuri and Natsuki, removes their files from the game, and the game starts over again.
Yep.
And you start the game over, and you're placed in the remains of the literature club with Monica seated across from you. And this is very different from the rest of the game.
Yes.
Because she reveals that she's become self-aware, and she's acquired the ability to manipulate the game's code after getting sentience. So this is the crux of the game. This is what everything that's been happening up to this point, she dumps it on. She reveals it.
Yes. It's a pretty big point.
And so during this, what does she tell you during this point? Like, why is she upset?
I mean, and it's alluded to early in the game too. You start to realize and question. I know I did. Like, why isn't Monica an option? Like when you do the poem, and like in like romance options, like she's not someone that you can like when you do the poems to write your poem to like kind of work towards. You can be more sad with Yuri, or she's not an option. You can't affect your choices to like romance her, and that's what she's kind of distraught about.
So as she becomes sentient, like, why can't I be one?
Yep. Why isn't she an option?
Oh my God.
Why is she just this bystander? Just the president of the club. That's it.
Yeah. And so so part of that is she changed the code to try to make the other club members more unlikable. And prevent them from confessing to the protagonist, but obviously that didn't work.
No.
It did not work.
Not at all. This is pretty brutal. So this is also a big part where she then confesses, her love to the not the protagonist, but the player itself, because they're real. And that's just her gaining sentience and stuff. So
this is the meta fourth wall break.
Yes.
Like, I want you, the player, but I am real too.
Yes.
What did you think at that point in the game when this was revealed?
I remember I had to sit for a minute. I just kind of had to sit, and I was like, and I was like, I had my partner who had played it before me, and then I played it after, and it was still, even just seeing their reaction, even the second time, like seeing me play it was just the same, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What's going on? It was, I don't know what. I don't know. All this is kind of mumbled together until the end. I don't know about this. Yeah.
Right. It's just like the grand reveal,
Yeah.
and then she keeps you there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You can just sit there and talk to her indefinitely for the rest of the game about various topics. And
I remember saying like, "Well, okay, now what?
Now what?
Well, now what? Now what do I do? Right. Now what's next?" And it's like, well,
this is it.
That's it.
This is what dating Monica is like.
Yeah, you're stuck with Monica indefinitely.
Until you delete her her file in the game. And what happens when this will trigger 3 endings, right? So she'll initially lash out before she disappears, but she'll forgive you and remorsefully repents and restores the game, excluding herself. So now we get 3 endings.
Yep.
So what is this first ending?
So this is kind of the traditional ending. It sees Sayori introducing herself as the president of the Literature Club, expressing her gratitude to the player for ridding of Monica. However, Sayori quickly adopts a lot of Monica's characteristics as the new club president, and Monica intervenes via text and removes Sayori from the game to save the player. Upon realizing these efforts have been fruitless, Monica deletes the entire game. And as the end credits roll, she plays a song, Your Reality, that she wrote for the player.
Yeah.
It concludes with a note stating that she's disbanded it because no happiness can be found.
There's no happiness in the Literature Club.
But she thanks the player for being a part of it.
Which is wild. Like,
It's
were
crazy.
you happy that you played the game?
I was. It was nothing of what I expected. It was a wild ride.
Yeah.
So I was happy I
So
played
she
it.
was wrong then. There was happiness found.
There was, there was. There was.
But,
Happiness, horror.
okay, but there's a more
Confusion.
positive ending though. There's
yes,
a more
there
positive
is.
one. This is ending 2, and you get this one if you viewed all of the optional cutscenes and you confessed your love to Sayori prior to witnessing her suicide, right? So this requires you to save and load over and over to see this point in the game. But what happens is, though, when the game starts over, though Sayori is still self-aware, she instead expresses her gratitude to the player, to you, for emotionally supporting all the club members, and tearfully bids farewell, ensures the player that all the club members are loved. Monica then plays Your Reality during the credits without deleting the game. So the game stays live, Sayori thanks you, and then you actually get to see a message from the game's developer describing his intentions and his opinions on video games and the game as a whole. So this is a really cool, positive ending of like, okay, thank you, the game still exists,
Yep.
and for finding this ending. Mm-hmm. Here's a
it
little
gives you
extra.
some sort of resolution too. You can kind of feel better about the way things go.
And we have a third ending that's probably the darkest. It's the early ending.
Yeah. So this ending occurs if the player kind of preemptively deletes Monica's file from the directory before starting a new game. But doing this automatically makes Sayori the new club leader. And kind of upon Sayori's realization of the true nature of the game and also her role in it, she quits out of the game. She forcefully closes it. And when you open the game again after that, it only shows the image of Sayori hanging herself.
Yeah.
And then a small message will appear after 10 minutes saying, now everyone can be happy.
This one's brutal. This one is very brutal.
Yeah.
This is the early ending, right? Because you think you're smart. Like, I'll just delete Monica and start the game fresh.
I can get ahead of him. No, it'll be, I don't even have to deal with any of this. No, you will be, a brutal reality will come to you.
And there's 10 minutes. Who stared at that for 10 minutes?
Literally, yeah. Just sitting there being like, hey, what do I do? What do you do?
Seriously. What's interesting to me about all of these is it seems like whoever's in Monica's position, the club leader, gains sentience.
Yeah. Oh, completely.
Like, what is it about that role?
Yeah.
Right? And it seemed to drive them all crazy in a way. Like, it drove Monica crazy. Like, who wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
You're a program that came to life. Right? And there's so much theory to dive into, to grab into this game. There's a whole...
There's so many pages.
Yes.
I found so many different blogs, just other
so many
theories.
Reddit posts.
Yes. Exactly. There's some wild ones out there. We brought one to bring up.
Oh, sure.
This one's a little kind of silly or wild. But this one was saying that, talking about possibly what if Sayori's personality is all fake. And
What?
she's just pretending to, since she pretends to not have depression, she's actually...
Wrong! That's all wrong, Anna!
Okay. So since she's faking... Wait, she's just faking all of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Which would also...
You disappointed me.
mean that she's enough to be faking it, or is she being...
Where did you even get
I don't
that
know.
theory?
I don't know about this.
I don't know.
This is
But I feel... I don't know.
I bet you got it from Reddit, and not a
What could it
credible
be?
source like MapPal.
You got no Reddit, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
This has gone on for
Anyone's on
far
there,
too long.
No, I like...
It is time I, the true co-host, take care of this.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated...
We don't need this.
What
We don't need this for the fourth
I'm
time.
trying to do
today.
an intro.
For the fourth time?
I don't... What do you mean the fourth time?
This is the fourth time of doing the intro.
I'm trying... I know we have a short shoot today, but I'm trying to do
I've been
the intro.
erasing reality.
Is that why... Wait. Is that why I have we only have 10 minutes for this shoot? Okay, how?
That's a good question. I don't really know how.
Okay, so 4 times. Who were my co-hosts?
You had some random guy named Mateo. Don't really know who that was.
Oh, he came on? Cool.
Yeah, you had Ron.
Nice.
It was disappointing that you did a bad job.
What do you mean? Ron does great.
And you had Anna.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
She did an okay job, just she had a bad theory.
So did we talk about Doki Doki?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you started off talking about The Sims.
Sims, okay. That's a good Valentine's episode.
No, not as good as this.
Okay. Well, how much did we talk about?
We talked about the whole game.
All of it?
Well, except for the theory. Well, you started talking about the theories, but they were bad theories. So
you're here now
to rectify that.
So we talked about all the endings, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're here to tell me about the theories?
Yes. Theory.
Theory.
There's
one major
There's
theory
one
for the
big
game.
theory.
Because I had some I wanted
That's
to,
kind of
but,
been
okay, tell me about 'em.
proven. With
You're talking about Matt Pat's theory?
yes,
Okay,
Matt
okay.
Pat.
All right,
Great man.
All right, you're here.
Matt Pat's theory about the game, about how these characters, in the game, Monica brags about how she changed some of the other characters' emotional values. And why would characters in a romance game, in a simple romance game that has a script, have complex emotions, like be able to have complex emotions?
Oh,
So the theory is they're all from a different game.
interesting. Huh. And what game, like, does he say he know the game that they're from?
The game doesn't exist,
Huh.
and he was kind of wrong.
Kind of wrong.
But kinda right.
Wait. Matt Pat was wrong.
Thing is, it was a theory, but then it was proven that like he was right, but not in the right way.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And
Huh.
when Doki Doki Plus came out, his theory was proven essentially right, because turns out that the Doki Doki games are in a different universe. Like, they're simulations in a different universe.
Okay.
Because these people are trying to figure out, like, what happens if characters, like, what happens to characters in simulations? Because they're like, are we in a simulation?
Oh, okay. Interesting. So these characters, them coming sentient, is them being shoved into the game that we're playing.
Yes.
They're moved in there.
And there's also a whole other thing where, like, maybe a character, or one of the people working on the game, on the simulations, we'll get back to that, got swapped with Monica somehow. It doesn't really make sense.
Like, I did have a theories section in the notes, and these are wild.
Yes, like Monica's soul, I guess, swapped with
with the developer?
one of the developers. That's a whole other thing.
That's the
but
one.
the reason he was kind of right
Yeah.
was the fact that there were other simulations. There were other simulations where these characters had to be more advanced in a horror game, in like a horror setting.
Okay, so like Resident Evil style.
Yeah, actually.
Really?
It's
Who makes these theories? Like, where do we get the basis of this info? Where does Matt Pat get this info?
Well, a lot of the info that he got back 5 years ago, these videos came out 5 years ago,
Yeah.
which they're still amazing.
I did watch some of the prep. He
Yes.
goes deep.
And in the character files, they're not real file types, but you could open them in like your notepad.
Oh, this is wild. I remember this.
You can open them in your notepad, and they'll have like strings of text. And if you convert those into different things, you'll get a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, one of them has like a picture of a totally different girl from like when you put it from above that's not even in the game.
Well, it gives you an image, then you have to invert it, and then you have to wrap it around a cone and look at it from the top.
It's so weird. Each file is
really weird.
Like, so the files that you use to delete the characters, like that string of code, it's a specific type of font, like code and language that they convert.
One of the girls, I think it was Natsuki,
Yeah.
I think, her file was just a short story that the developers had in there for as an Easter egg.
Really?
That was really fun to.
Did that create any theories? That
Nope.
short story?
No, he has come out and said that this has nothing to do with the game.
Oh.
It's just there.
Okay.
But the other three had stuff to do with with Project Libitina. I think that's one of the names that was given.
Sounds familiar.
I think. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Dang. Okay, so you brought me the grand theory.
Yes. Go watch the whole series that Matt.
It's like 19 episodes. That's worth it.
It's
not as bad as his Five Nights at
No.
Freddy's. FNAF.
And anytime he talks about Undertale.
Okay, those are his big.
I love how the start of the first Doki Doki episode, he's like, as a joke, he said, "Yeah, Monica is Sans from Undertale."
Oh my god, is that like a theory? Is that a meme now in the community? That's hilarious.
Because he constantly compares Undertale in everything.
Interesting. One of the theories I liked. I was looking through some theories in prep for this show. There was the theory about which is the girl who has the abusive dad. Nazi. Anyway, the theory was that her dad didn't become abusive until Monica started playing with the code.
Oh, right? I actually like that.
Yeah, because all the girls started getting crazy and their personalities changed. So
you see, you're doing a much better job than Anna did.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. What did she say?
That a character's depression was fake.
I don't think Anna said that.
Well, she did.
No,
she got it off of Reddit.
I was just gonna say that's off of Reddit. Come on, that's a bad thing.
Reddit. Don't go to Reddit. Although, actually,
Reddit has some good stuff.
Actually, it was 2 guys on Reddit that decoded those files. So Reddit can be good, but it's mostly bad.
You gotta decipher it.
Yeah. You gotta really look through it and like.
Another one I liked off the Reddit post was that there was the bad ending, like not the really bad ending, but like it was the happy ending, and someone said that was actually the bad ending for the game because in the first one all the characters are deleted and they just don't exist anymore. But the good one where Sayori says thank you for saving us, all of that, they're not truly deleted from the game, and since the game is still going, they're just trapped in the game, sentient forever. So that's actually the dark ending. I was like, oof.
That may or may not be what happened to them, to the other co-hosts.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, so, I mean, we're at the end. We're running out of time here. So how do we end this episode? So obviously, thank you all for joining.
We don't end.
What do you mean?
It goes forever.
We end the episode.
No. We talk about Doki Doki forever.
Doki Doki forever?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well,
of course we can.
I guess I'm going to end the episode. You said you've got rid of my other co-host. Yeah. I'm gonna take care of you. End this episode too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why? Why are you deleting me? I hope you know that the show won't be the same. Especially because all your co-hosts are dead.